Welcome back to Strong, Confident, and Informed, the podcast where we go beyond surface level of fitness advice and actually help you understand what's driving your results. I'm Danielle Lemoyne, an online fitness coach who helps women build strength, lose fat, and most importantly, stay consistent without constantly starting over. And today we're talking about gut health. This is one of the most overcomplicated topics in the health and wellness space right now. Because somewhere along the way, gut health went from taking care of your digestion and overall health to expensive supplements or food fear, cutting out entire food groups, obsessing over certain ingredients, constantly trying cleanses and resets, and believing that every symptom means your gut is damaged. And I think a lot of people now feel, more confused and overwhelmed, or they're hyper aware of every symptom that's happening to them. So today I want to simplify this conversation, but not oversimplify it. Just bring it back to what gut health actually is, when it matters, what our symptoms can tell us, what actually impacts it, and how this connects to things like your energy, recovery, fat loss, your consistency, and your overall health. Because yes, gut health does matter, but not in the extreme fear-based way that we see on social media that seems to take over right now. So first, what actually is gut health? When people say gut health, they're generally talking about digestion, the health of your gastrointestinal system, and the balance and function of your bacteria that's living inside your gut microbiome. Your gut impacts a lot more than just your digestion. It can influence your energy, inflammation in your body, your immune function, nutrient absorption, your appetite regulation even, and your bowel movements. I know that's not pretty to talk about, but it does. Your stress response, and even your mood. And this is why people are paying more attention to it now, because when your digestion feels off, well, you feel off. And honestly, gut issues can absolutely impact someone's quality of life. Take it from me, I suffered for years. Things like bloating, constipation, diarrhea, excessive gas, stomach pain, your reflux, food sensitivities, and irregular digestion matters. They shouldn't just be ignored. But I also think we need to be careful not to pathologize every single symptom. Because social media has created this mindset where one bloated day means that your gut is ruined, or cravings mean that you have candida. Fatigue means inflammation, and everyone suddenly thinks that they need a full elimination protocol. And honestly, sometimes the issue is a lot simpler. Sometimes people are just under eating fiber, you're eating too quickly, you're chronically stressed, you're barely hydrating, you're inconsistent with your meals, you lack movement, you're overeating highly processed foods, you're probably under eating protein, and most likely you're sleeping poorly. Or you swing between that restriction and overeating. And those things absolutely impact your digestion. So before we jump into expensive supplements, detoxes, and gut healing protocols, I think we need to zoom out and look at foundational habits first. Because foundational habits matter massively for gut health. So now let's talk about symptoms for a second, because this is usually where people start paying attention. Some common signs that your digestion or your gut health may need support could include frequent bloating, constipation, irregular bowel movements, stomach discomfort, excessive gas, reflux, feeling overly full quickly, food sensitivities, and having low energy after meals. Now, obviously, if symptoms are severe, persistent, worsening, or significantly impacting your quality of life, that's where medical support matters. And I want to be very clear here. Not everything is a coaching issue. There are absolutely times where doctors, dietitians, GI specialists, testing, and proper medical investigation are appropriate and important. But for a lot of people, their gut health improves dramatically from consistency with basics. And honestly, that's the part that's not very sexy online, because people want the supplement. They want that quick fix, that protocol, or that one thing that's magically going to change it. But your gut responds heavily to your overall lifestyle patterns. This is where consistency becomes incredibly important, because gut health is not built from one healthy meal or one probiotic or 1 week of eating well. It's built from those repeated behaviors over time. And that sounds a lot like fat loss too, right? Or your strength, maybe your energy even, right? And your recovery. The body responds to patterns. So let's talk about what actually supports gut health in a realistic way. The first thing is fiber. And honestly, most people are not getting enough. Fiber helps support our digestion, our bowel regularity, our satiety, our blood sugar regulation, and it feeds beneficial gut bacteria. And yet, a lot of people's diets are low in vegetables and fruit. It's very low in whole foods and low in variety of them. And then they wonder why their digestion feels off. The second thing is hydration. You cannot expect digestion to function optimally if hydration is consistently poor. Water matters for your digestion, your stool consistency, for nutrient transportation, and overall function of your body. Third is movement. And this is something people massively underestimate. Regular movement supports your digestion. Even simple things like walking, just some type of daily movement or consistent exercise, it can improve your gut motility and your digestive health. And honestly, this is another reason movement matters beyond aesthetics. The fourth thing is stress, and this is huge. Your gut and your nervous system are deeply connected. So if you're constantly stressed and you're rushing your meals, you're chronically overwhelmed or emotionally dysregulated, that can absolutely impact your digestion. And I think many women live in such a heightened stress state all the time that their body never fully shifts into that relaxed digestive state. A lot of times we're eating too quickly. We're multitasking as well while we eat. Emotionally, we eat as well, right? If we've had a hard day or a bad day, we're skipping meals and then we're overeating later. And that inconsistency affects your digestion too. Fifth is the consistency with eating patterns. Your body generally likes predictability. That doesn't mean rigid meal timing though. It means constant swingings from undereating to overeating, restricting and binging, eating perfectly versus the chaotic weekends. That can create digestive stress too. And this is where gut health and fat loss start to overlap more than people realize. Because many of the same habits that support gut health also support your body composition, supports your recovery, your energy, your consistency, and sustainable fat loss. Things like eating adequate protein, having enough fiber, drinking enough water, having enough movement, managing your stress, having regular meals, having enough sleep, and just being consistent. Those things matter for both. Now, I also want to touch on something important. Gut health is not about perfection. I think social media has made people afraid of food in a way. We're afraid of ingredients. We're afraid of eating out. We're afraid of gluten, of dairy, of anything processed. And honestly, that level of stress around food can also become unhealthy too. Now, yes, some people generally do have intolerances, sensitivities, and digestive conditions. Absolutely. But not everyone needs a restrictive protocol or to eliminate an entire food group forever or to obsess over every ingredient label. Sometimes what helps most people is actually slowing down, simplifying things, being more consistent, reducing those extremes, and improving your foundational habits. I think this is why so many people stay overwhelmed with gut health, because they skip the basics and jump straight into the complexity of it. But the basics matter. Now let's connect this back into fitness and fat loss a little more directly. Because yes, your gut health can influence your results. If digestion feels poor all the time, that can affect your energy, your workout performance, your recovery, your appetite regulation and consistency in your food choices, and just general overall adherence. So if you're somebody who constantly feels bloated, uncomfortable, sluggish, and reactive around food, it becomes much harder to stay consistent long term. But I also think some people use gut health as a distraction from the basics. And this is where I want to be a little bit more direct. Sometimes people spend hundreds on supplements and months chasing a protocol or constantly trying resets while they're still not moving enough. They're overeating on weekends. Their sleep is really poor. You're barely eating any protein and you're inconsistently tracking and just avoiding all those foundational habits. So then at some point we have to ask, is this actually a gut health issue? Or is this a lifestyle consistency issue? Because foundational habits still matter. They always do. And honestly, this is why I coach the way I do. Because yes, deeper issues can exist, but we should not ignore the basics while chasing advanced solutions. And the reality is most people will see major improvements from just becoming more consistent, becoming more aware, reducing our extremes, improving our food quality gradually, managing our stress better, and building sustainable habits, not from another cleanse. So if your gut health has been feeling off lately, instead of immediately jumping into overwhelm, start by asking yourself, am I eating enough fiber? Am I hydrating? Am I moving regularly? Am I constantly stressed? Am I eating consistently? And am I swinging between extremes? Start there first, because your body often responds well to simple, repeated support, not panic. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from this episode. Gut health matters, but it does not need to become obsessive, fear-based, or overwhelming. Your gut responds to patterns, your consistency, your stress, habits, and your overall lifestyle, just like the rest of your body does. And honestly, the people who usually feel best long-term are not the people doing the most extreme things. They're the people consistently supporting their body in sustainable ways. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message on Instagram at DL Fitness Coaching and let me know what stood out. And if you're looking for support simplifying your nutrition, improving consistency, and creating habits that actually support your energy, digestion, and results, that's exactly what I help women do inside my coaching. You can find more details in the show notes. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.